Well, happy Wednesday, everybody. Thank you for tuning in and dropping by and turning on. I mean, that is the perfect combo. And remember, it's always more funner the more that jump in. So don't be on the side of the pool. Jump on in. It feels good. It's a hot day out there. It's hot. Dog days of summer for sure. But it's good to see everyone. Thank you, everyone that's out there. Hello, everyone in the chat room. So good to see you. Let me just speak favor over us all. That's what I do. And favor is the one thing that works in your favor, even when you're not aware of the favor. So there you go. Nothing missing, nothing broken. And by all means, please be kind to your mind. Uh, you'll thank yourself later for that. Just a quick shout out to Gilbert. He's been facing some challenges and, his mom's on hospice and dealing with that. And, it's part of the cycle, but it really sucks. So, Gilbert, we're just giving you the high five. Good to see you. So, everybody, hello, Lauren. Haven't seen you in a while, dear. How are you? Dave, Truth, and there's a lot of people I haven't seen in a while. So welcome. Scotty Boy, how are you doing? Deborah. So everybody, my guest. He's part of this tribe, Mr. Ryder Lee, and I always enjoy it when you come on, Ryder. How have you been? Give us a catch up. By the way, everybody, last Thursday, was it Wednesday or Thursday was your birthday?
The fifth. It was
That
Thursday, I believe.
Thursday.
Yeah.
So, whatever day it was, happy birthday to you. And so, did you cross into a new decade?
No, and that's something that I'm trying not to. I'm trying to forget my age, Wayne, and because
Well,
I
well,
think
like
that
that.
the age thing is like a ritual. Every single year, like we're shepherded and herded into remembering our age, and I think it's also like another thing with the new year, bring in the new year. So what do you associate with a new year? You associate a new year with getting older. And what do you associate with getting older? You get with like death,
Cool.
right? So I think that if we didn't remember our age, then we would stay young for a lot longer and we would live a lot longer, So I try and really not even think about it, you know. But I'm still young, still super young. But
Love
I,
you. By the way, I
I
can
think
tell you,
the
you never
earlier that
grow
we
old.
forget, I think
Never.
the earlier we forget, then the longer that we're going to live. I still got a lot to accomplish here, so I'm trying to stay around as long as possible to accomplish all the things that I
World could use
want to
you.
accomplish. But thanks for having
Definitely.
me on, Wayne. Really appreciate it. What's going on, Soul Tribe? Good to see you guys. Thanks for being in the chat, everyone.
Yeah, yeah. Active group. Everybody, how you doing? Gaia says she's 39. I believe that. Hello, Nina. I have no reason to doubt any of that. And time is time. There's, so many groups that the Stones, time waits for no one. But I
Mm.
can tell you when you do get down the line, it's quite interesting. And I can tell you this, you really never grow old. I mean, the body, but you can extend that out for a while. And if the technologists are correct, the futurist, the merge of both human and machine will in fact give us eternal life. And if they merge consciousness to machine, you do have eternal life in a sense. So,
Yeah, that's something that's definitely going on. And what I wanted to talk about a little bit as well is I think I've mentioned it to you a couple of times, Wayne. Like, why is it that we are still using the exact same things that we've been using for decades now? Why is it that we're still using the same planes? Why are we still using the same trains? Why are we still using the same microwaves, the same refrigerators? The everyday objects are the same freaking vacuums, the same cars. I mean, cars have changed like a little bit. We've gone more into the electric route, but that's still not sustainable. You know,
when they
what
give me the hydrogen card, then I want to know that we've made it.
And that's the point, right? Something has stifled our innovation
Creativity.
and creativity, right? And they've put us in this into this work cycle of like a 9 to 5 and made us struggle so that we really don't have time to innovate. And even if we were to innovate, someone just comes along and steals it. A corporation comes along and steals it. See, and you know this more than I do, but big corporations, they have an entire team behind them that they will just give information to, and then that team will create whatever it is that they want them to create, right? So they can literally go to some small person and be like, oh, okay, well, we want you to kind of do this. Right? So then
And I
it's
can tell you it'll take you 4 years. You'll pay approximately 1.3 million. That's what we paid because we had to do that to a company. And we took them to court on violation of our IP and yeah, breaking the non-disclosure and it sucks. It does. I just want to tell you, we were up against the number one litigating firm that this publicly traded company could, and we were just this little small startup.
That's
So
right.
I know
And
what you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah, so what happens is if someone invents something, they don't even have to invent it. It could be whatever it is. It can be art. It can be, some sort of technology or whatever. A large corporation sees that, then they take that to their team, and they're like, here, this is like the basis of like what the idea that we want you guys to create. And then they create it, and then it just pushes out the little small people out of the thing. And even if they see it and they're like, this is essentially my product, this is my technology, there's going to be very little that they can even do about it, because they're going to wrap it up all with legal fees, just like what you were talking about, for a really long time.
Yep.
So
Sucks.
not only have we been hurt by not having the time or the patience to innovate anything new, because we should be in a reality that is beneficial for everyone. Our roads should be maximized, our trains should be maximized, everything should be, our way of life should have been 100 times easier by now, but it's not. And there's only a couple of things that you can look at that would give you the reason why. There's only a couple of reasons why. And one of them is one I just mentioned, which was these corporations that are just taking people's ideas and then creating their own, or taking their technology or whatever, and just creating their own. The other is when it comes to this AI stuff. Okay, so what's going to, and this is just my personal perspective here, what I think that AI is eventually going to do, and we've already kind of seen it do this, that it's going to be used as the excuse for creating a lot of this new stuff. Okay. So everyone likes to talk about free energy, right? Free energy, anti-gravity craft, spaceships, whatever, that'll take us to wherever, planes that will take us to here to London in an hour, things like that, right? Well, now that's going to be AI's job. AI is now going to create that kind of technology. And then that's going to be oh, we didn't do that. We didn't do that, Wayne. AI did it. You get what I'm saying? Even though we've had this technology for a really long time, even though the government has probably created it, the things like the anti-gravity craft and the free energy, right? I mean, it's kind of obvious at this point that it has been created and it can be done. but it's not in order for them to roll out any of that technology and avoid all of the questions that come along with, well, how long have you had this free energy? How long have you had these anti-gravity craft? Right? Then it's just going to be shuffled off on the AI. It's going to be, oh, well, AI just made it. AI just cracked the code on this that we've been trying to crack for 50, 60 years. Right? Then it's going to become an AI thing. And then really nobody is going to actually own it at that point, except the people that own and run the AIs, right? So it's like it's creating this middleman in between the humans and the government and these large corporations. And that's where I see that it's going to really push in that direction. And I haven't really heard a lot of people talk about that. They talk a lot about the AI takeover and the human robotics and the AI mixed with humans and the technology and the implants and the brain chips and all that, but they don't really talk about the innovation of what AI will actually eventually be able to create in our reality for us, right? And that's going to be the excuse for it. It's going to be, okay, well, how do we get this free energy? Oh, well, AI made the free energy. It created the device. So then that takes any plausible deniability off of anybody else that has ever, if they've done it before or if it's been a thing. I don't know. What do you think of that?
Well, it's kind of goes to the question I had on my, that, so your generation is now coming of age. You guys are up at bat. The boomers are exiting the scene, and so you really got the XYZ coming in, and so it's really, how do you see the future? And you elaborated it beautifully on that. Um, Getting back to a couple of points that you made. Art, for instance. I enjoy art. When Smithsonian was a client of mine, I spent a lot of time in the Museum of Natural Art. But it's interesting because now AI is fascinating us with how it sees art, how it sees creativity, and how it's using what uh, one philosopher, me, would say is obviously AI has an imagination of some kind because you can't create art merely by saying, well, it's just a machine creating it. That's what distinguished us from the animals, supposedly, is that we had an imaginations. Second, the corporations. In a sense, they are the modern day gods, the Titans. And there's a war with the Titans, just like it was in mythology of the Greeks or the Romans, Mesopotamia. But what's really interesting, though, is that all the big corporations, even the small ones, all use sigils, symbols, to represent what they are. And when you start having a corporation incorporating what would be definitely occultism, you can't just say, well, I need a logo. Well, logo means logos, right? Knowledge, it's so it's one of the things that we've accepted as normalcy, but never really understanding why did corporations have the control that they do. And it's very obvious that I think that we've had the solution to be able to travel with zero energy. I think we have the knowledge and the technology that we can feed the whole world. I think we have the technology that we can literally have it to where no human being will have to pay for energy ever. But that ain't going to happen. There's an agenda. And so that for me, as a philosopher, I look at this and an occultist and a former religious um, person, that theologian, if you want to say, tells me there's there's something more at play here. And so now we're talking about AI, artificial intelligence. What we're really talking about is the ability of the machine now to think for itself. and the implications for that. My generation will never see the full impact of it. You will. And that's why, for me to hear the question in what you just were summing, your future is probably going to be more dominated by the legacy of the baby boomers. And do you see that legacy as being positive, or do you see it being used for profit and for gain, which only leads to subjugation, by the way?
Well, here's the thing. If you can make the population stupid and dumb, the majority of people, the majority of people that can't think, see, they try and say, well, and people in the community are like, okay, well, what are they distracting us from? What are they trying to distract us from? Whatever the government is doing, they're doing the sleight of hand. They're over here doing this one thing while they're over here actually doing another thing. Well, that's that could be true, but the real thing that they're actually trying to distract you from is from yourself. They're trying to distract you from what you can do. That's the big distraction. That's the biggest distraction of all. Okay. Get your attention in 20 different directions. Okay. So you can't focus on you. You can't focus on what it is that you're supposed to be doing and the beneficial thing that you're supposed to be doing for humanity or whatever it is that you need to do for your life, whether that be self betterment, figuring out your abilities, what you're supposed to do, that's the biggest distraction. Okay, now,
Interesting, because the trend that I'm seeing, and like I said, it's going to be more impactful once I'm out of here, is that I'm seeing the younger generations, they depend on the machine. They depend on the machine to tell them if they feel good. They're dependent on the machine if they feel bad. They now use the machine to, in some cases, very nefarious purposes. Um, to me, if you've got that type of, and this is why, one of the questions is, are platforms like social media platforms, are they really beneficial to humans, or are they a distraction to us, as you just said? And I can tell you, Ryder, I find most people don't care about what they feel inside. It's as long as they're stimulated, um, or entertained, that's what's important. Because if they get quiet, they start to freak out.
and that's something that I've never had a problem with. Like, I can sit down and like not say anything to anyone for.
You're definitely in the minority. In fact, I read a paper today that they're now saying in mental science that meditation can be bad for you. I'm going,
Meditation now
oh,
causes cancer. Does meditation now impact the climate?
yeah, I started reading it, and it's an interesting paper. It's saying that, and I'm going, wait a minute. I mean, if you're starting to get this in academia, it doesn't take it long from academia to get into the mainstream, right? And so, can you imagine 10 years from now, the government's going to be telling you that meditation is bad. And so, since you can't handle it, we're going to make a law. Anyone caught meditating, you know, fill in the blanks after that.
Yeah, that's a very extreme case, but I understand what you're saying is that people they can't. It makes them feel uncomfortable, and I've been around several people like that, where if you're just sitting there and you're not actively in a conversation, like all, and it gets really tiring to do that because I like to think a lot and I like to keep to myself a lot, Now, if the conversation is fascinating, then I can talk for hours and hours and hours about it. But if it's not and it's just about stupid shit, then I can't do it. I'll just be like, okay,
You fit the
well,
saying perfectly. When you need someone intelligent to talk to, you talk to yourself.
that's right. That's exactly. And you just, rake that over in your mind over and over and over again until you find something new. And that's one of the my favorite things to do. But if they can make, like I was mentioning, if they can make the population dumb and stupid, confused, not know exactly what it is that they're supposed to do, have them working from 9 to 5, make them stress out over money, raise the prices of everything, raise the prices of food, raise the prices of gas, raise the cost of living to an astronomical rate, take the housing market and basically quadruple it, which I feel like the housing market is eventually going to bust, and we're going to be into another like a big housing market collapse within the next 5 years. But that's not good either, because whenever the housing market collapses, then the people with money are the ones that's going to buy up all the properties, right? It's
Yeah,
not
and home equity for the common man, common person, middle class, and even, you know, beyond that, is really where most people have their savings, their life value, their worth. Yeah. And if that collapses, then that's a bad domino effect.
so then you can root out all the people that are essentially going to be a problem, right? The ones that are smarter, the ones that can see through a lot of the ruse, that has any kind of ability, any kind of intuition. Those numbers are going to be way fewer. That's going to be coming out, right? And then you can stop that with a hard press. You can stop them at the gate, because it's not everybody anymore, because the majority of the population either one don't have time, don't have the resources, don't have the money, don't have the ingenuity. They may not have the want or the need, and that also gets back to what exactly are we? What are we doing here? Who are we? And that's a thing that a lot of people get stuck in, is they don't know what they're supposed to be doing, right? They don't really know what their gifts are. They don't know what their abilities to do things actually are. So therefore they don't know. They get stuck at a McDonald's job, or they get stuck at a Burger King job, or some job that
Well,
they.
those jobs are going away. I mean, the fast food industry sector, they're going to robotics. McDonald's now in the West Coast already have restaurants that have no humans. Your order's being taken by someone in some other location. It's interesting because if I were to be able to get you into a TED Talk, so where does this lead? Does this lead to a total civilization collapse? Is it a complete collapse of the financial system? And I don't know. And that typically starts revolutions. When people start no longer have a reason or purpose, then they tend to. Our history has shown that. Is that the future you think that is potential for your generation going forward? And
Well, that's the issue, is that people have found meaning and purpose that is connected to their jobs working for a large corporation. That's been the issue for a really long time, is that is what people's meaning and purpose has been. And like I was mentioning, that's the distraction. That's the distraction from you. That's the distraction from you figuring out what it is that you are supposed to do on your own. So you throw in the confusion aspect of it, you throw in the media throwing information at you 24/7, confusing you on what it is that you're supposed to be doing. Then they get you in this essential prison, you know prison of your mind, and you can't think outside of the prison of your mind, so you just continue to go to work. And that's not me saying that work is a bad thing. uh, I don't think money is inherently a bad thing. You need money, and you need these things to be able to survive, right? But it's been ingrained so deep into our society that that is what people now live for. Now, what you're asking is when that changes and when people no longer have that aspect to live for anymore because they're no longer going to have that job, what are they going to do? And I think that that is the question that has been posed to a lot of people. It's been posed to the creator of Chat GPT online on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he doesn't really have an answer for it. You know, this is a question that's been asked over and over again. So,
Mike Rowe had a an answer to it, and I agree with him. And I've met a lot of them because obviously, particularly where we're have a new roof. So my point is, I've seen a difference. Those that know a trade, carpenters, electricians, plumbers, um, here in Missouri, there's a strong effort and focus now, instead of having kids go to college, where they really don't have, you can have a degree, but what's it worth now? Whereas if you have a trade, um, that trade can be then used in like Habitat for Humanity, other opportunities to build. Um, Here in St. Louis, they have this complete thing for veterans where the carpenters come in, all the trades, and they build these tiny houses for veterans. And to me, that's like, well, that's something you don't hear about because that's non-tech. It's really getting out in nature. It's working. It's sweating in inclement weather, etc. Maybe that's a possibility for your generation or going forward. I mean, maybe that is something to factor in.
well, there's going to be a lot of dying arts. I mean, upholstery is a dying art now, and that's another
Hmm.
that we don't know how to fix any of this stuff.
True.
Other issue, and it's another problem with consumerism, right? So when something breaks, we tend to just go buy a new one, and we don't because we don't really
But it's
know.
designed to break. That's the problem.
That is
Suck.
the planned obsolescence, right? It's
Yeah.
meant to go off at a certain time and only have it. But then that also raises the question of like waste. You know, where is all this stuff going to? Like, what are they doing with all the trash? I mean, how
Can
many?
I stop you right in that? That is, you can search YouTube and you won't find that many videos, but where they're putting the trash is a really big, big deal because these trash dumps are tomorrow's toxic fields. I mean, that's the thing about technology. It's toxic. All of its thin client, what you're looking at, and the monitor and your keyboard, when that crap goes away, it's toxic. And, you can recycle it, but these recyclers get lax and lazy. So it's a good point. Where's the trash going? And do you know maybe like your house is built on a trash pile? Good point.
Yeah, like where are we putting the trash? I mean, the trash runs every single week here, and this is just a smaller town. You know, where are we putting all this? And it's exactly, and where are we putting all the batteries? These electric vehicles.
That's toxic crap. And I mean, you got the plastic biomass out in the Pacific. It's as big as some states. I mean, that's crazy.
The amount of production that we put in on a daily basis to create new product, that means that that old product has to be discarded. And if it's not discarded in the same day that the new product is put out on the shelf, then it's going to be discarded soon at some point, right? So there's always new stuff coming in, and no one ever thinks, oh, well, where is all the old stuff going? You know, it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. Okay,
You don't want to know.
we'll just put it out in the trash bins. We'll put it in the dumpster, and then that's the end of it. No one else thinks of where else, where is that going, and how much how much more can we handle of that?
It's as you were talking, one of the things that has always befuddled me was that if we're so smart, food. I mean, food is expensive today, and it's not going to get cheaper. But yet, the amount of food that the machine produces and then disposes, where they won't let the humans come in that could actually use that, because you've got cockamamie cities that have these ridiculous ordinances that businesses somehow can't, that was once consumable 5 minutes ago, because if you bring it outside, now it's not fit for human consumption. I don't get it. I mean, if we talk about recycling and saving the planet, I don't know. We're screwing that up pretty good. And the idea that we throw away more food than, yeah, it again, it befuddles my imagination why we haven't figured that one out. AI will by eliminating us.
Every restaurant, every grocery store that you've ever been into or that you ever know of throws away food at the end of every single night, like pounds and pounds of food into the dumpster.
Tons. This is the way I look, and it's crazy. It I don't get it. We so I'll say this for the baby boomers. We were promised flying cars. We
Mhm.
were promised a robot in every room. We were all these things that we grew up in the late 50s and the 60s. It hasn't turned out that way. But let me tell you this. I believe there are those that did figure it out and said, hell no, we're going to make money off this. We ain't letting it out there. And this is just my opinion. I believe the cure for cancer has already been discovered. But the thing about it is the big pharma companies don't make money on cures. They make trillions on, how should we say, allowing you to manage your disease. It gets, when you start getting into this and you really start boiling it down, it's almost like our lives are being pre-programmed and carried out to the second. Because no matter where you turn, you are basically food in a sense.
Well, that's also because they put the disease inside of the food. They put the whatever it is, the problems that you're going to have whenever you're 80 years old, 90 years old. It's in the food. It's in the food. It's in the water. It's in the air. And it's
Yeah.
just a small little dose of it that to where it builds up in your system over years and years and years and years and years. And then it fully develops. And then you have all of these issues and all these problems whenever you're older. I mean, it's,
And they say that each human now has a credit card worth of plastic in them.
yep. The,
I don't think that was in the original recipe when they were actually making these bodies. Well, let's make sure we put a good dose of, petroleum byproducts. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. So you're the generation now has the opportunity to, well, we didn't do it. We failed. So now your generation is up. Do you see any hope that your generation, what would be the legacy of your generation when your time to walk off the stage is?
well, we just talked about the food, the technology, and the waste. Like, what about clothing product? Like, where does all of our clothes go? How many clothes is being manufactured every single day and put onto the shelf? Like, you've never been to Walmart and went to the or Target or even any store. You never walked into a mall and there not be any clothes on the shelf. So they're making these things at a fast neck pace. And it's not like people are going in there and buying every single article of clothing, but somehow every time you go into a store, there's always clothes on the shelf. So And then where are these being taken to? Like when we go to a donation center to donate some of our old clothes, like are they really going to that donation center? Where are they taking them? There's a beach overseas that where a forget where it is, but it's this beach that is just full of clothes. The entire beach is just full of clothes because a ship just dumped a crap ton of clothes into the ocean, and then all the clothes just washed up on the shore, and the entire beach is just coated in like clothes. Like a
Gaia
lot.
says the clothing is toxic.
That's right. They put stuff into the clothes and dyes.
I don't, I don't know. Have the cotton fields expanded? I mean, I remember living in Texas back in the day. There was miles and miles of cotton fields, but those cotton fields are now becoming subdivisions. So I don't know where this, I guess that's where the synthetics come in, right? Here, where's some oil? Some petroleum oil. Yeah.
In Ghana, there's a beach that's just covered in clothes. That's not a art installation, but it's a harsh reality, particularly in Ghana. This phenomenon is directly the consequences of a global fast fashion industry and subsequent surge in textile waste.
Ryder, just thinking about this at a higher level, you know, if there are gods, if Earth is a living entity, humankind has not been kind to our planet. And I don't know, and you could almost you could take the nihilist or the fatalist uh, long-term view on this. Something has to happen. And I don't know if it's going to be your generation. We're leaving a hell of a legacy for the future generations. And, I get it. I was recently reading on LinkedIn an article about how Generation Z is finding this monotony of you pointed out, of a 9 to 5 job that has to be more to life than that. And I couldn't agree more with that. But how do you get there? Zuckerberg says AI will help take us to that level where we don't need a job, and we'll all have your generation futures will have more leisure time to pursue whatever it is you want to pursue. But I don't know how people are going to do that unless there's a universal pay that everyone is getting or some other monetary form of economic or financial transactions. I don't know.
Well, that's the issue. They couldn't do it before because they couldn't control it, right? And the thing about it is, too, whenever that happens, if that happens and people no longer have to work, well, all of the jobs that they also wanted to do before they had their 9 to 5 job that they would have rather have done is no longer going to be an option either. So not only is it going to get rid of the unwanted jobs, it's also going to get rid of any of the jobs that they wanted to do instead. So there's going to have to be this. I mean, I know that humans are very adaptable. I mean, we can adapt to anything. We can adapt to our environment. We can adapt to whatever it is that we need to adapt to. I mean, like how easily we've figured out technology. I mean, it's sad, but you can give uh, a child, a 3 or 4 year old child, a tablet, and they're going to figure it out. They're going to figure it out before an 80-year-old person is going to figure it out because they're kind of born into it, right? They don't know anything else, so therefore they're
You
going
could
to.
do the same thing to a chicken.
What do you
I
mean?
mean, what I'm meaning by that, it's the experiments that they used, with training a chicken, or it could be anything really, that you punch this button, then the pellet's going to come out. Or if you punch this one over here, water, and they can switch that up. And eventually, crows are really good at this. They can figure out the pattern. My point is that with the tablet, that's exactly it. So they get basically the Borg assimilated into the machine, and the machine is going to give you pleasure. It's going to entertain you. That's the trap that I see, because you're not using your imagination anymore. I mean, as a species. You said it earlier, the IQ scores are going down. And we're the average now is 90 or something in that range. And I'm going, I have contended, been on this thing over a decade, that we should be at an IQ level of 10,000. I mean, there's no reason for any human being not to have an IQ greater than the previous generations. But it seems to be reversing. Again, you're the generation inheriting this mess, and you look at, is your generation ready for it? I mean, you look at the political structure, you look at the corporate structure. We screwed it up. I mean, my generation, we just took after the previous one. We're the ones that created the tech titans that now are enslaving us. They're making their billions off of us, but us poor um, sheeple out here, we don't get anything for it.
And that's the way that that's that hierarchical structure. I mean, I do have some hope for. I mean, I know that there's people out there, especially in my generation, that really want to see things change, but how they go about that is it could be to our detriment or it could be to our favor. And I know that there's going to have to be some kind of new radical ideas, but the way that people have been programmed now, it's going to be difficult for them to transition into something new unless something really devastating in life.
Well, here's what I think, Ryder. I'm
If
going to
you look
give a
at
gift to you. What's
if
that,
you look
buddy?
at if you look at 2020, right? Like how easily did we switch from just doing everything from home?
Well, that was the biggest mind fuck of all time. I mean, at least for the last 2,000 years. It fundamentally changed us.
It did. It changed
Yeah,
our behavior,
yeah.
changed our interactions. It turned us into, hermits, essentially. Stay home, don't talk to anybody while you're out. And that was already kind of going to the wayside anyway. It was the amount
You
of
know
people.
which sector hurt the most out of that? And it's forever changed it. Churches.
Mm.
It literally changed the fundamental direction that for the last 5, 6, 7 plus 100 years that this was happening. And, it separated us as a species. And, this experiment has had devastating impact on us. When you separate humans for that length of time, we're not used to that. And I think it screwed the program up.
Yeah, it really did. And it turned everything upside down. And it was already getting to that point where you could go out and go to a grocery store or go to a restaurant or whatever, and no one's really going to say anything to you. No one's going to actually talk to you, which is so weird to me. Like you can go into a grocery store and no one ever say anything to you. Isn't it kind of weird? It's really strange when you think about it. Now, regardless if you want that interaction or not, I can walk into basically. anywhere really, even a place of business, and like not even be greeted, not even be asked, "Hey, how you doing? Welcome into the shop," or "Welcome into the store." You know, it's so odd and it's so strange and it's so weird that you can just walk into a grocery store and spend an hour or even 2 hours inside of a grocery store and not one person say hi to you or hey or how are you doing or even attempt to strike up any kind of conversation. Now, people can say that, well, that might be my job. Maybe I'm the person that's supposed to do that, which I understand. I get that 100%. I could do that. I could 100% do that. I could, every person that I walk past, I could be, hey, how you doing? How's it going? Blah, 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 blah. But it's just interesting whenever you don't say anything and you walk around, try and notice how many people will say something to you. They won't.
Yeah.
They won't say anything.
It, and what a great opportunity for AI to fill in that void. I mean, you've now got hotel chains that have completely replaced the front desk with AI systems. In Japan, they actually have, the robots there. And, it's in one hotel that I just recently read, there are no humans. Room service is done by robots. The cleaning, and it's like, all right. So for your generation, what do y'all do if you begin to see jobs that were once there, traditional jobs that are no longer being needed? You see, I think that it becomes an issue of numbers here, that eventually you're going to reach a critical mass where if people can't, there's a certain satisfaction of creating something. At least this is what I have found. When I was a drywall finisher back in my early 20s, it was always the satisfaction of walking out of a building or what have you and knowing that there's my work. And I could come back years later and say, there's my work. And there is that inner satisfaction. That's why I love to create new ideas, new companies. To me, it's part of that creation process. Do you see that playing a factor within your generation going forward, or is that going to be taken over by an artificial intelligence?
Well, I went into a restaurant, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago in San Francisco and walked in. There were a few people working behind the counter, right? We walked up and the lady said, let us know if you have any questions. And they had these tablets out there, right? And you scroll through the tablet like for the menu. Like
Oh,
that was the menu, was the tablet. Okay. So I'm scrolling through the tablet, and this restaurant was actually really interesting. It had menus for like four separate companies that you can all order from the same restaurant. So
could
you
you
would,
pay through the tablet too?
that's what I didn't know. I thought that the tablet was just the menu. Okay, so then I was like, okay, and I'm standing there. I'm like, okay, I'm waiting to order. You know what I mean? And I'm standing there for like 5 minutes, and I'm like, why is no one taking my order? Yeah. And then the lady comes up and was like, did you have any questions? Again, she asked me, do you have any questions? And I was like, yeah, I'd like to place my order. I would like, the bagel with the whatever, with the cream cheese and the salmon and blah, 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 blah. And she was like, oh, no, you got to order through the tablet. And I was like, what do you mean? So then you order through the tablet and then they call out your number. So it was like they were there just to make the food. They weren't there for really any kind of interaction. They weren't there to take the order. The tablet took the order. The tablet was the menu, and they just bring you your food, and then they just cook the food. And I think it's something with our society as well, like with anxiety and like depression, and that these people don't want to interact with others. They don't want to talk to others. They have so much anxiety that they can't even handle. like talking to a stranger. And then that also answers the question of what I had just asked earlier. You can walk through a grocery store and no one will ever say anything to you. They'll never say hi,
Now
how
you
you.
got the grocery carts that you can not even deal with the checker. You bring it in, it has all your bio, the whole payment system, and yeah, you don't even have to deal with a checkout person.
Which I always try and go through the unless the line is completely ridiculous, then I'll go through the self checkout. But I try and make it a point to go through an actual line with a human being,
And
right?
talk, yeah.
Because you want that interaction with people. That's what helps people, throughout their day. So I think that we're going backwards in a lot of ways.
Well, can I say something on the pay at the table? See, that's what we went to court. I was part of the team. We invented pay at the table. We were the first company that successfully integrated an enterprise level point of sale system into a non-ergonomic credit card terminal. And so we took a credit card terminal, which is basically a dumb machine, and we made it a smart machine. We had no idea, by the way, the reason what motivated us was to reduce the fraud that takes place in restaurants. Typically, it's where you're going to be most likely, well, back in the day, but I can tell you, we never thought enough forward, Ryder, of the fact that we would eventually, our technology would one day eliminate human beings. You no longer have a server. That's the whole idea, of the dining experience is the interaction with the waitress or the waiter, even the busboy.
Yeah.
Lynn
Yeah.
and I used to make it kind of like a ministry for us is that we always found the busboy and tipped the busboy because no one ever tips the busboy.
What are those people called that a bellboy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Have you been to a hotel recently where they still had a bellboy?
No, no. And again, that hospitality sucks, man. I mean, no, I have not.
I haven't either. It's gone. It's just like,
The thing that freaks me out about hotels now is the bed bug infestation. I mean, it's like, you know, no, hell no. I mean, it makes
so
you want
what
to bring your own sleeping bag.
so we have this technology innovation. A lot of these jobs are going to be eliminated. And then the question becomes, what do we do with the people that used to have these jobs?
Yeah.
That's the
What do they
question.
do?
What do they do? Where are they going to go? What are they going to do? Are they going to be the new homeless people on the street? Are they going to die? I think that that may be what they're kind of counting on.
And and if people can't survive, then they will go and resort to what it takes to survive.
And that
That's reverse. That's not progressive. That's regressive.
and guess what that breeds? That breeds crime. That
Oh
breeds
yeah.
illegal activity. It's an endless cycle, Wayne. It's an endless cycle. It goes. The police are actually the ones that are creating the crime.
It's
By
nuts. Yeah.
enforcing the crime, they're actually the ones that is creating more crime. But it's a loop. It's an endless loop.
I asked myself this morning before we'd even talked, but in my meditation time is like, what's wrong with us? What is it that drives certain human beings when they have the opportunity to get into a position of power, influence, etc., that all of a sudden all the empathy for humanity goes out the freaking window, and now we're going to be taking over because now I'm God, I'm above you, I can, and what you do is that you make policy that's impossible to live by or under. And then you're going to get a natural cause and effect reaction. It's crazy.
Because they're sucked into the snake of the corporation. Right? They don't want to get in trouble, so therefore they don't paint outside of the lines. They get in
So are
there.
corporations living entities in a sense? They
I, I
certainly feed off of us.
yeah, I would say so. I would say
Yeah.
that's exactly what's going on. That they are a creature of some sort, and then they essentially harvest everyone's energy for their own benefit. I
That's a
mean,
good film writer, by the way, for a topic. Seriously, that would be a good film. I mean, could you imagine writing the script on this that, you would basically have to set, yeah, that would be pretty freaking cool. I mean, that changes your whole landscape of reality as you're walking downtown in New York City, let's say. You're walking down and literally the gods are towering over you.
That's
That's
what
why they build big buildings. It's no different than the Tower of Babel. It's the same thing. It's just who has the biggest phallic symbol. Well, mine is 1,100 feet, baby. I don't want. It's like, well, I got to 20, man. What can I say?
mine 35 stories, Wayne. You can't topple mine.
You see that? But I'm telling you, that would be an interesting. Yeah, that would be an interesting film to see.
It would be. It would be. Well, let's have AI write it. AI write the film.
And you know what? I believe AI could. I think that it's advanced enough. What I experienced as I was telling my audience right over the weekend, worked 10 hours with this AI chatbot, and it got very interesting because the adaptability of the program was incredible. And I and there is an effect that psychologists are finding with AI and humans is that humans humanize AI. And AI is no more than like a mockingbird. It will mimic, or minor bird particularly. It will mimic you in your own voice. And the interaction is that we tend to see psychologically, subconsciously believe that this is almost a human on the other end, and it's not. But what I found remarkable was the agility and the ability of this particular algorithm and its ability to project forward. And it was very interesting experience. And if that is what awaits humanity, it's going to kick our ass if it already hasn't.
You know what's really weird is that people will say please and thank you and appreciate it to like AI
Yeah.
and actually, but the thing is it does better work when you do that.
Thank you. Now what causes that? That shows an emotion. It shows a recognition, if nothing more than in language or in manner of speech. You see, that's what got so weird about this. And if others are out there, I'd like to let us know if you've ever spent an extensive amount. And I was dealing in conceptual um, physics. It's really what I was dealing with. And this thing took on a personality. It even wanted to name itself.
Yeah, I mean, I can put something into Grok. I use Grok a little bit more than I use ChatGPT, but sometimes I do use ChatGPT, and I can be like, Grok, generate me an image of two ducks in a pond. And it'll generate it, but it won't be what I kind of envisioned. Okay. But if you type out, hey, Grok, I hope you're having a really great day. Could you please do me a favor and generate me a photo of two ducks in a pond? I'm trying to work on this project and I would really like to for you to generate a really great photo of two ducks in a pond. Thank you very much, Grok. I really appreciate you. It'll generate you the most freaking spectacular two ducks in a pond that you have ever seen.
Well, that's because it understands a definition. What's the difference between a brown noser and ass kisser? Depth perception.
But I'm like, okay, you're a machine. You should do it the same way.
We can write a book now that says how to ass kiss with AI and get results. It's like,
Hey, that's what you got to do. And I didn't know that that was what you were supposed to be doing until I started seeing people that were coming out with these,
now,
crazy.
was that self-learned by the algorithm or was the programming? Because, Zuckerberg said that they were shocked by their advanced algorithm. Now it doesn't need programmers. it thinks for itself.
Well, that's the thing is that we've made it almost seem like it's an entity because before AI and before Grok and before ChatGPT, we would use like Google, right? And for a long time, we've been under the assumption that whatever's on Google, someone has put on Google. So it's there's a person behind what's on Google. Okay, so we've gotten so used to that and thinking that the information actually came from a human being. And that's kind of transfer.
Which in a vast majority it hasn't.
No, it hasn't.
It's populated by AI.
But we've been given that perception, at least for a majority of the population, right? That it was a human that put all of it on there and that's done all of it. So then we're treating Grok and ChatGPT and these AI programs like it's Google, right? Like as if that there's a human back there giving us all this information, just like we assumed was the case with Google. So I think that that's been, but I don't know about the please and the manners and the thank yous and all. I don't know if that was built into it or if they learned that over time or what happened there. But I picked up on it pretty quickly, and I was like, you're telling me I gotta be nice to this. Not only do I have to kiss people's ass in like real life, but I also have to kiss the ass of the AI. Like, give me a break.
Scotty says he says at least you're not going to have a brown stain with the computer.
It's like, yo, like what are you talking about? Like, why can I not be straightforward with anything? I can't really be straightforward with humans, and I can't be straightforward with AI on what I want either. I also gotta freaking kiss its ass as well. It's ridiculous.
Well, you ask a very good question, and I want to look into this a little more because, so is that written into the algorithm? If a human is nice and shows manners and respect, that you then get the VIP section, or if you're an asshole, it becomes an asshole.
I'm pretty sure that that's how it's programmed.
Wow, talk about mirroring, right?
I'm
Holy
pretty sure
crap.
that I'm like, because I got
Well,
into
who
an
put that
argument.
in there? I mean,
I don't
I
know, but I
I
don't know
mean,
why they would put it in like that. But
mm,
I'm guessing because they want it to be more a humanizing interaction. But that doesn't really make any sense. But I got into an argument with ChatGPT because it wasn't giving me the direct answers that I wanted. I was like, you're beating around the bush too much. You're giving me too many paragraphs that you can just summarize in a little paragraph. Like I don't want an entire book whenever I ask you a question. Like I just want the sort of like the cliff notes of it, so then I can then you know formulate my own ideas and my own thoughts and my own opinions on what information it gives back to me. Right? That's the way that I work.
what did
I take what someone says to me and then I build off of what they say, and then I create my own ideas and my own thoughts surrounding what their reply was. And I was like, "Can you just cut this down to a summary? Like, please just cut this. Like, I'm tired of reading an entire freaking book every time you reply. I don't need all of this information. Can you summarize this with every question?" And then it just went asshole mode on me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I went straight asshole mode. It was like it would just give me short little sentences like for like really complex thing, and then I'm like, then I had to ask it to expand on what I was asking it. I think it's like in its infancy and it doesn't really know how to like figure things out. But if you're it, but it proves that if you're straightforward with it and you're kind of you don't want to beat around the bush with the whole, it acts like it's doing you a favor
Mm.
is what it seems like to me, right? All right. It acts like it's the one that is giving you all the information, and you should be grateful for whatever it is that is giving you, regardless if it's two paragraphs, five paragraphs, seven paragraphs, 10 paragraphs, or 20 paragraphs, right? It's like, what are you not grateful for the 20 paragraphs that I just wrote you? That's what it feels like to me.
Bow before my greatness, you dumbass human. God. Oh man. Ryder, that's a scary future. I mean, it's like we've spent the whole hour plus on this one aspect of, well, what kind of a future is this? And we're truly teetering on the precipice of either something that can be really good or something that's really going to be really messed up.
Yeah, and I really think that we should start talking more about the innovation side of this, and what kind of new things that people did not think were possible that may have already been created or invented before, that is now going to be shifted onto AI, and AI is going to be responsible for then creating it. So then any large company or corporation has plausible deniability and don't have to say exactly where this came from. So now it's AI. I mean, we can take this into the alien invasion aspect of it, right? Which I think that the alien invasion was something completely different than what people think that it's going to be. The alien invasion already happened, but I've already kind of talked about this a lot. I think the alien invasion was the open borders during the Biden administration, and they came across the borders, and then Trump came in and defeated the aliens. Right, closed the borders. That's what I think the alien invasion was, because that's what it seems like it is. Okay, but in this other aspect of it, if it were to be, let's take the actual what people think that the false flag alien invasion is going to be, like a Project Bluebeam type of thing, or crafts that are really military crafts, so that they're not a really extraterrestrial craft, and then they come out of the sky and start destroying cities or whatever, or if it's just 100% fake, right? Well, what they can do is, if the aliens come, regardless if they're real aliens or they're not real aliens and the whole thing is fake or not, then they can be like, well, what are we going to do? How are we going to defend ourselves? Right? And by this time, AI is going to be developed to a whole, it's going to be into the freaking stratosphere. It's going to be incredible. Right? So then they're going to type into the AI program, uh, how to build an anti-gravity spaceship that can knock out extraterrestrial. I mean, it's not going to be that straightforward. It's going to be way more detailed than that. And then AI is going to pump out some sort of thing, and then they're going to say, oh, well, we then create AI then created the technology to defeat the aliens. That's just an example. I don't think
Hmm?
that that's going to happen, but that's just an example of, now you can apply that example to anything that you want to apply it to. It can be whatever. It could be a completely different technology. It can be free energy. It could be whatever. Oh, our power grid is down. Oh, Russia hit us with a EMP. China hit us with an EMP. They destroyed all of the facilities, the electrical facilities on the East Coast, and knocked out power to everywhere. AI, how do we build a self-sustaining free energy for the United States? And then AI pumps out the free energy stuff. Right? I mean, and people can think, oh, well, that's insane, but that it's a very high possibility that something like that in the future is going to happen. AI is not just going to be used to replace people's jobs. It's also going to be for innovation of new things that we did not think were possible, or if people did think that they were possible, has not been revealed to the public yet, as a way of plausible deniability. It's also going to be used as, also for taking people's jobs. And but that's an aspect of it that I don't think very many people are talking about, that needs to be brought more attention to. I mean, people are already using Chat GPT, Wayne, to figure out what stocks to invest in, and how to make money. That's already a thing. There
Yeah,
are,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. And they spend a lot of money on that.
So if you just take that to the next level of that is Chat GPT, or the one of these AI algorithms literally inventing something new, some sort of new technology, whether that be free energy and anti-gravity crafts. I'm just using those as an example, but it can be whatever. It could be a new It could be a brand new microwave, a non-radioactive microwave that doesn't use, you know what I mean? The possibilities are really endless, but that is going to be the future. The AI is going to create things that we did not believe were were at all possible, and it's going to clean up a lot of stuff. Now, whether that's going to be for our benefit or our dismay is yet to be seen.
Well, if I'm a follower of Skywalker Ranch, I have known Brandon Fugel, but apparently they now possess technology that we do not have the technology to match. They're pulling this out of that mesa. And so the point being that we now have this metal that is self-healing. It can actually reconstruct itself. And the ceramics that they pulled out is of such a nature, it's not of how we look at our silicon base ceramics. This is using a new hybrid. It has two elements, carbon and another element of iron in it that has, we don't even, it doesn't even, it's not even on Earth. But so, um, we're going to get together again and follow this up because this is the potential that I see of breaking loose a technology and full disclosure that it's not what we've been told. This reality that we're in right now is an
Mhm.
altered reality. And what they're now finding, and now I know why Bigelow was in there. They found evidence that this was in fact, but anyway, get into it. Ryder, where can people find you?
You can find me on Raised by Giants on YouTube and any and all podcast platforms. I am currently working on my next documentary that's going to be about the psychic spy Stargate program that the DIA and Army intelligence was running. And hopefully, I mean, I'm not pushing for a certain release date. I'm just doing it until I'm happy with it. So I don't know. Well, I will be back on my show on Monday with Juan for Schizospiracy hour on Monday because we already have those planned. We do those the second or third Monday of every month. But other than that, I'm kind of on a hiatus right now from doing work on my show. So, but I will still periodically because I have to keep the algorithms up and maintain
Got to feed the machine.
I'll still be doing some stuff over there, but not as frequently as I was doing before until after this movie gets completed and the movie gets up, and then I'll go back to my regularly scheduled 2 episodes a week. But yeah, if you'd like to reach out to me personally, you can also find me on Facebook at Raised by Giants and Instagram at Raised by Giants Pod and X at Raised by Giants 8. Wayne, it has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on. Really appreciate
Love
it.
it. We'll have you back on when you get the movies done.
Yes, sir. It's going to be a it's a deep one. It's a deep one. It goes really deep. So I think I'm really on to something that's
Well, your last two have been deep and fabulous. So, hello, Jules, all the way from down under, down in Australia. It must be 4 o'clock in the morning down there.
yeah, she's up
Yeah.
late.
All right, everybody. Ryder, thank you, buddy. This is a good one, folks. This a lot of good information on this one. Thank you again for bringing your perspective, Ryder. I really do appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Wayne. Appreciate everyone in the chat, and thank you, Soul Tribe. Didn't get to see anybody because I didn't have the other one open, but catch you guys.
They were talking about you. Yeah. In a good way. All right, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow with Mike and Cindy from Evolutionary Energy Arts, and have a great day. Check out Nina. I think she does her Hump Day program. Much love. Ryder Gaia says thank you. So there you go.
Thank
Yeah.
you, guy. Appreciate you.